Admiral Vexthar sat on his command throne, his long fingers tapping against the armrest. The bridge of the Eternal Dominion was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. Everything was normal. Everything was peaceful. His empire controlled this entire region of space, and no one dared to challenge them. Then the alarm started screaming. "Admiral," shouted one of his officers. "We're detecting something strange." Vexthar leaned forward. "What kind of strange?" "An energy signature, sir. It's moving fast, very fast. Faster than anything in our database." The Admiral frowned. His empire had records of over 10,000 different species. They knew every type of ship in the galaxy. "Show me," he commanded. A holographic display appeared in the center of the bridge. It showed a single dot moving through space at incredible speed. The numbers beside it made no sense. The energy readings were impossible. "That can't be right," Vexthar said. "Check your instruments. They must be broken. We've checked 3 times, sir. The readings are accurate. That vessel is putting out as much energy as a small star, but it's only the size of a small frigate." The Admiral stood up from his throne. His dark eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. No civilization can miniaturize that much power. Not even us," another officer spoke up. "Sir, we're receiving a distress call from Mining Colony 739. "Put it through." A panicked voice filled the bridge. "This is Colony 739. We need help! There's a ship here. It just appeared out of nowhere." "Are you under attack?" Vexthar demanded. "No, sir. The ship just passed through our system. It didn't stop. It didn't communicate. But our sensors went crazy. We've never seen anything like it." "Describe the ship." "We couldn't get a clear visual, Admiral. It was moving too fast. But the energy signature, it was enormous. Our chief scientist says it's impossible. He says no known species has technology like that." Vexthar ended the transmission. He looked at his officers. "Send word to the 2nd and 3rd battle groups. Tell them to converge on our position. We're going to find this ship and capture it." "Yes, Admiral." For 3 days, the Imperial fleet chased the mysterious vessel. It left a trail of impossible readings wherever it went. Scientists across the Empire studied the data, and all came to the same conclusion. It was impossible. The ship shouldn't exist, but it did exist, and now it was heading directly toward the Imperial core world, sir, said the navigation officer. "The vessel has stopped. It's holding position in Sector 447. How far away are we?" 6 hours at maximum speed. Vexthar smiled. "Finally, we have it cornered. Prepare all weapons. Once we arrive, I want that ship disabled and boarded. Whatever technology they have, it belongs to the Empire now." 6 hours later, the Imperial fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 3 battle groups, 47 warships, thousands of soldiers, all surrounding a single small vessel. "Visual feed," Vexthar ordered. The main screen flickered to life. There it was, the mysterious ship. It was sleek and elegant, unlike the brutal angular designs of Imperial vessels. Its hull was a mix of white and silver, with strange markings along its side. "Magnify those markings," the Admiral said. The image zoomed in. The officers on the bridge gasped. The markings were in a language they recognized, an ancient language from the Galactic archives. "Those are human markings," whispered the science officer. "Impossible," Vexthar said. "Humans are extinct. They destroyed themselves 200 years ago with their primitive weapons. The database confirms it, sir. Those symbols match human writing." "That is a human ship," the Admiral laughed. It was a cold, cruel sound. "Then this will be even easier than I thought. Humans were one of the weakest species in the galaxy. They barely had space travel when they killed themselves. If somehow they survived, they're no threat to us." He opened a communication channel. "Attention, human vessel. This is Admiral Vexthar of the Vrax Empire. You have entered Imperial space without permission. You will power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, you will be destroyed." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then a voice responded. It was calm and steady. "This is Captain Day of the Earth vessel Teguk. We are explorers on a peaceful mission." "We mean no harm to your empire," Vexthar sneered. "Humans, I thought your species was dead." "We chose isolation," Captain Day replied. "We needed time to grow, time to learn, time to become better than we were." "How touching," the Admiral said mockingly. "But it doesn't matter. Under Imperial law, all species must serve the Empire. You will surrender your ship and your technology. Your crew will be processed and assigned work duties. We respectfully decline." The bridge erupted in laughter. The Imperial officers couldn't believe what they were hearing. This tiny human ship was refusing the might of the Vrax Empire. You dare refuse? Vexthar's voice was sharp with anger. I have 47 warships. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a planet. You have one small ship. Surrender now or be destroyed. Admiral, Captain Day's voice remained calm. We don't want conflict. We came in peace. But we will not be enslaved. Please reconsider your demands. Vexthar had heard enough. Fire a warning shot. Target their engines. 3 Imperial cruisers opened fire. Energy beams powerful enough to vaporize mountains streaked through space toward the human ship. The beams struck the Teguk directly. Everyone on the Imperial bridge expected to see the human ship explode. Instead, the beams simply vanished against the hull. No damage, no explosion, nothing. The laughter stopped. The bridge fell silent. What just happened? Vexthar demanded. Sir, our weapons had no effect. The human ship didn't even activate shields. Their hull absorbed the energy completely. The Admiral felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Fear. He pushed it down and tried to sound confident. Full power then. All ships fire at will. 47 Imperial warships opened fire simultaneously. The space around the Teguk lit up with thousands of weapons firing at once. Plasma torpedoes, railguns, energy beams, graviton warheads, everything the Empire had. The barrage lasted for 30 seconds. When it stopped, the Imperial crews waited to see the debris field, but the Teguk sat there completely undamaged. Its hull didn't have a single scratch. Impossible, Vexthar whispered. This is impossible. Captain Day's voice came through again. Admiral Vexthar, we've demonstrated that we cannot be easily destroyed. Now I ask you again, stand down. Let us talk peacefully. We can share knowledge. We can help each other. But Vexthar wasn't listening anymore. His pride was wounded. His fear was growing. He grabbed his communication officer. Send an emergency transmission to the Imperial homeworld. Tell them we've encountered a threat. A serious threat. Tell them the humans have returned. The officer's hands shook as he sent the message. On the bridge of the Teguk, Captain Day turned to his small crew. They all looked worried. I was hoping this would go differently, he said quietly. Lieutenant Yuna, his weapons officer, spoke up. Should we show them what we can really do, Captain? Day shook his head. Not yet. We give them one more chance. We didn't spend 200 years building a better humanity just to start another war. Engineer High checked her console. Captain, their weapons fire didn't even register on our shields. The hull's passive defenses absorbed everything. The reactor is still at 0.3% capacity. Keep it that way, Day ordered. We show strength, but we don't attack. Not unless we have no other choice. He looked at the 47 Imperial warships surrounding his vessel, each one filled with thousands of soldiers who thought humans were weak, who thought humans were primitive, who thought humans were extinct. They were about to learn the truth, and Captain Day hoped they would learn it without anyone having to die. The Teguk floated in space, surrounded by 47 Imperial warships. Inside the human vessel, Captain Day stood calmly on his bridge. His crew of 30 looked small compared to the thousands of aliens surrounding them, but none of them seemed afraid. Captain, said Lieutenant Jin from the navigation station, the Imperial fleet is repositioning. They're forming an attack pattern. Day nodded slowly. They're scared. Scared people do desperate things. Everyone stay calm and ready. Dr. Rin, the ship's chief scientist, looked up from her console. I'm reading their communication channels. They're panicking. They keep saying we shouldn't exist. In their minds we don't, Day replied. They think we destroyed ourselves. Let's show them what humanity really became. The communication screen flickered to life. Admiral Vexthar's face appeared, but this time he wasn't alone. A female Vrax officer stood beside him. Her uniform had more decorations than the Admiral's. I am Commander Thalrax, second in command of this fleet, she said. Her voice was steadier than the Admiral's. We've sent word to our Emperor. He's very interested in your ship, in your technology, in you. Captain Day folded his hands behind his back. Commander, Admiral, we're happy to speak with your Emperor. We came here to establish peaceful relations with all species in this region. Vexthar laughed bitterly. Peaceful relations? You're humans. Your own history says you were warlike and violent. You fought each other constantly. You built weapons that could destroy your own planet, and then you did destroy yourselves. Everyone knows this. That's what the galaxy thinks, Day admitted. But it's not the truth. We didn't destroy ourselves, Admiral. We chose isolation. Chose it? Commander Thalrax looked confused. Why would any species choose isolation? Dr. Rin stepped forward into the camera's view. Because we looked at ourselves honestly. We saw what we were becoming. We had the weapons to destroy our world, yes. And we almost used them. But at the last moment we stopped. We looked at the galaxy around us. We saw empires like yours conquering and enslaving others. We saw species fighting for dominance. We saw a galaxy full of violence. And, Vexthar prompted. And we decided we weren't ready, Dr. Rin continued. We could have joined the galactic community as we were. We could have tried to build an empire like yours. But we knew we'd fail. We knew we'd either be conquered or become conquerors, so we made a different choice. We went home. We closed our borders. We spent 200 years learning, growing, becoming better. Better at what? Commander Thalrax asked. She sounded genuinely curious. Better at everything, Captain Day answered. While your empire spent 200 years conquering primitive species, we spent it advancing. We studied every species you encountered. We learned from their mistakes. We built on their knowledge. We prepared for the day we'd return to a galaxy that might not welcome us. Admiral Vexthar's expression darkened. Enough talk. Under Imperial law, all lesser species must serve the Empire. Your choice is simple. Submit or be destroyed. Day's voice remained calm. We're not a lesser species, Admiral, and we won't submit to slavery. Then you choose destruction. Vexthar raised his hand to give the order. Wait. Commander Thalrax interrupted. Admiral, our weapons didn't work. They will work with enough power. Vexthar shouted. All ships. Full power.
Maximum yield.
Destroy that vessel. 47 warships charged their weapons to full capacity. The space around them crackled with energy. This time they weren't firing warning shots. They were firing to kill. Yuna, Captain Day said quietly to his weapons officer. Shields to maximum. Defensive only. Lieutenant Yuna's hands moved over her controls. Shields at maximum, Captain. We could actually bring them higher if you want. No, we show we can defend ourselves. Nothing more, the Imperial fleet fired. This time the barrage was 10 times more powerful than before. Energy weapons that could crack planets. Missiles that could destroy moons. All focused on one small human ship. The light was blinding. The sensors on every Imperial ship overloaded from the sheer amount of energy being released. The attack lasted a full minute. When it ended, the Teguk still floated there, completely undamaged. Not even a scorch mark on its hull. On the Imperial flagship, alarms blared. Officers shouted reports. Admiral Vexthar stared at his screens in disbelief. Reactor status? He demanded. Completely drained, sir. All ships report empty energy reserves. We need 6 hours to recharge. Vexithar slumped in his command throne. 6 hours. His entire fleet was defenseless for 6 hours. If the humans attacked now, they would all die. Captain Day's voice came through the communication channel. Admiral Commander, your fleet is now defenseless. We could destroy all of you right now, but we won't, because that's not who we are anymore. Then what do you want? Commander Thalrax asked. To talk, to share knowledge, to help the galaxy become something better than constant war and slavery. Pilot Wu, sitting at his station, grinned. Captain, they've stopped moving. Their ships are just floating there. Permission to show them what the Teguk can really do? Day considered for a moment. A small demonstration. Nothing threatening, just educational. Wu's grin widened. Understood, Captain. The young pilot's hands danced across his controls. The Teguk suddenly accelerated. In 3 seconds, it reached 40% of light speed. It circled the entire Imperial fleet, weaving between the massive warships like a needle through cloth. Then it returned to its original position. The entire maneuver took 11 seconds. On every Imperial bridge, crews stood frozen in shock. Their instruments hadn't even been able to track the movement. One moment the human ship was in front of them. The next it was behind them. Then it was above. Then below. Then back where it started. Did everyone see that? Engineer High asked the crew, laughing softly. I think they got the message, Lieutenant Jin replied. Admiral Vexthar's hands trembled as he opened the communication channel again. What are you? We're humans, Captain Day said simply. We're explorers. We're scientists. We're teachers. We're peacekeepers. We're whatever the galaxy needs us to be. Dr. Rin pulled up data on her console. Admiral, we've been monitoring your empire for the entire 200 years we were gone. We know you've conquered 47 species.
We know you've enslaved billions.
We know you force primitive civilizations to serve you. That's how the galaxy works, Vexthar said weakly. No, Day corrected him. That's how your empire works. The galaxy is much bigger than you realize, and it's about to change. Commander Thalrak spoke up. What do you mean? Before Day could answer, alarms sounded on the Imperial ships again. New contacts were appearing on sensors. Lots of them, Admiral. An officer shouted. We're detecting massive energy signatures. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. How many? Vexthar demanded. Sir, the sensors can't count them all. At least 300. Maybe more. They're Imperial Armada signatures. The Emperor himself had sent the full might of the Vrax military. Captain Day turned to his crew. Well, this is about to get complicated. Lieutenant Yuna checked her weapon systems. Captain, we could still run. We're faster than anything they have. No, Day said firmly. No running. We came here to show the galaxy that humanity has returned. We're going to do exactly that. Even against 300 warships? Engineer High asked. Day smiled. Especially against 300 warships. Hey, how long until our reinforcements arrive? The engineer checked her communications. Earth Command says 10 more ships are en route. They'll be here in 6 hours. 10 ships against 300, Pilot Wu whistled. Those aren't great odds. They are if you're human, Dr. Rin said confidently. Remember what we learned. Remember what we built. Remember why we came back. Captain Day addressed his crew. Everyone, listen. The next few hours will define humanity's place in this galaxy. We can show them we're conquerors, or we can show them we're something better. We're going to show them that humans don't just survive. We thrive, we help others thrive, and we don't bow to empires that rule through fear. What are your orders, Captain? Lieutenant Jin asked. Day looked at the view screen showing hundreds of Imperial warships approaching. We wait, we talk. And if they attack, he paused, we show them exactly what 200 years of human advancement looks like. On the Imperial flagship, Commander Thalrax watched the human ship. Something bothered her. These humans seemed so confident, so calm. They didn't act like people who were about to die. They acted like people who had already won. She wanted to know why. 1 month after the installation, the Nexus Gate floated in space like a sleeping giant. It was ready to wake up. The activation ceremony would be broadcast to every world in the galaxy. Leaders from hundreds of civilizations were coming to watch. Some came to celebrate. Some came to see if the gate would actually work. Some came hoping it would fail, though they would never admit it. Ambassador Yuna stood on the observation deck of the ceremony ship. Outside the window, the gate stretched across space. 2,000 kilometers of human determination made real. Ships from dozens of worlds floated nearby, keeping a respectful distance. If something went wrong during activation, even being this far away might not be safe. Nervous? Asked Talon. The silver-skinned alien had become friends with Yuna over the past year. He was one of the few aliens who genuinely liked humans. Terrified, Yuna admitted, but also excited. We are about to open a door to another galaxy. That is not something you do every day. No, Talon agreed. Most species never do it at all. In the Gates Command Center, Captain Taemin Han ran through the final checklist. After 4.5 years of construction, everything came down to this moment. Either the gate would work or it would explode. There was no middle option. All systems green, reported Minho. Choi, the quantum generators are synchronized. Exotic matter is stable, said Dr. Heejin Lee. She looked calmer than Taemin felt. Power levels are nominal. Added Engineer Sunwoo Lim. All safety protocols are active, Commander Daeho Kim said. If anything goes wrong, we can shut down in 0.5 seconds. Taemin looked at his team. They had worked together for years now. They had built something impossible. They had proven the galaxy wrong. Now came the moment of truth. Begin the activation sequence, he said. The ceremony ship was full of important beings. Counselors from the Galactic Council sat in special seats. Krelith was there, representing the Architect Collective. Even Vexthar had come, though he sat quietly in the back and did not talk to anyone. A human journalist was broadcasting live to Earth and Mars. This is the moment we have been waiting for, she said into her camera. In a few minutes, humanity will activate the first Nexus gate ever built by our species. If successful, it will open a stable wormhole to the Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light-years away. It will prove that humanity belongs among the great civilizations of the galaxy. On the command center's main screen, a countdown appeared. 10 minutes until activation. Taman felt his heart beating fast. He had been an engineer for 30 years, but this was different. This was history. At 5 minutes, Ambassador Yuna spoke to the assembled crowd on the ceremony ship. Her words were broadcast across the galaxy. Today represents more than the activation of a gate, she said. It represents the human spirit. When we first came to the Galactic Council, we were mocked. We were told we were too young, too primitive, too inexperienced. Many of you thought we would fail. Some of you hoped we would fail. She paused, looking around the room. Some beings looked ashamed. Others looked impressed. But we did not fail, Yuna continued. Not because we are better than you, not because we are smarter, but because we are human. We do not quit. When someone says something is impossible, we hear it as a challenge. When the universe says no, we ask why not. And when everyone doubts us, we prove them wrong. The crowd was silent. Some beings leaned forward in their seats, listening carefully. This gate is not just a human achievement, Yuna said. It is a message to the galaxy. The message is simple. Never underestimate someone just because they are young. Never dismiss someone just because they are different. And never ever tell humans that something cannot be done. Light applause started. Then it got louder. Even some of the aliens who had mocked humanity were clapping now. Vexthar sat in the back, not clapping but nodding slowly. The countdown reached 1 minute. In the command center, Taman gave the final order. Activate the gate. The quantum generators began to pulse. Energy flowed through the exotic matter conduits like light through glass. The center of the massive ring began to glow. First blue, then purple, then colors that did not have names. Space itself was being torn open, carefully and precisely. On Earth, people gathered in public squares to watch giant screens. On Mars, workers stopped their jobs and looked up at monitors. On space stations throughout the solar system, humans held their breath. The glow in the center of the gate grew brighter. It started to spin, slowly at first, then faster. Reality was bending, folding, reaching across impossible distances to touch another galaxy far away. And then it happened. The center of the gate went completely black. Not the black of space, but a different black, deeper and stranger. Around the black center, light bent and twisted in patterns that hurt to look at. The wormhole was forming. Field stability is good, Hyejin reported. Her voice shook with emotion. The wormhole is forming correctly. Energy levels are within parameters, Sunwoo said. The black center of the gate suddenly erupted with stars. But they were not the stars of the Milky Way galaxy. They were the stars of Andromeda, 2.5 million light-years away. The wormhole was open. It was stable. It worked. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then the command center erupted in cheers. People hugged and cried and laughed. On the ceremony ship, aliens stood up and clapped. Even Vexithar was clapping now. A slow, respectful rhythm. Taman's face appeared on screens across the galaxy. He was smiling, but his voice was serious when he spoke. The gate is open, he said. The wormhole is stable. We are ready for the first transit. A small ship separated from the command center. It was piloted by Commander Daeho Kim, who had volunteered for this moment. Inside the ship with him were scientists, including Talon, who had asked to be part of the first crossing. This is Scout 1, Daeho said over the radio. We are approaching the gate. The small ship moved slowly toward the black center of the ring. As it got closer, it seemed to stretch and distort in strange ways. Then in a flash of light, it disappeared. For 30 seconds, there was silence. Had the ship been destroyed? Had something gone wrong? Then Daeho's voice came through the radio, clear and strong. Scout 1 to command. We are through. We are in the Andromeda Galaxy. The transit was smooth. The gate works perfectly. The cheering started again, even louder this time. On Earth, people danced in the streets. On Mars, someone set off fireworks. In the Galactic Council chamber back on Praxis Prime, counselors who had not attended the ceremony watched the broadcast in shock. The small ship emerged from the gate a few minutes later, returning from Andromeda to the Milky Way. Daeho and his crew were smiling through their helmets. They had crossed between galaxies in less time than it took to eat a meal. Later that day, the Galactic Council held an official ceremony. They had no choice now. The gate worked. Humanity had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest expectations. High Engineer Krelith spoke first. The Architect Collective acknowledges the achievement of humanity. You have built the fastest Nexus gate in recorded history. More importantly, you have invented new construction methods that will benefit the entire galaxy. We request permission to study and learn from your techniques. Other counselors spoke, each offering congratulations and respect. Finally, Counselor Vexthar stood up. Everyone waited to hear what he would say. I was wrong, Vexthar said simply. His voice was quiet but clear. I believed that age meant wisdom. I believed that experience was everything. I believed that a young species could not compete with ancient knowledge. He paused. I was wrong about all of it. Humanity has taught me a lesson I will not forget. Youth is not weakness. Inexperience is not inability, and determination can accomplish what knowledge alone cannot. He looked directly at Ambassador Yuna, who was attending the ceremony via video link. You deserve respect, he said. You have earned your place among us. The Council voted unanimously. Humanity was granted Level 4 civilization status, a rank usually reserved for species that had been spacefaring for 500 years or more. It came with new rights, new responsibilities, and new respect. That night aboard the command ship, Taman and his team gathered for a private celebration. They were exhausted but happy. Years of work, years of doubt, years of proving everyone wrong, and they had done it. What will you do now? Minho asked Taman. We spent 4 years building this. What comes next? Taman looked out the window at the gate, still glowing softly in space. There is talk of building more gates. One near Mars, one near the outer colonies. Maybe one day a network of gates connecting all of human space. More construction? Heejin laughed. I might need a vacation first. You have earned one, Taman said. We all have. But even as he said it, he was thinking about new designs, new methods, new impossibilities to make possible. It was what humans did. They built things. They solved problems. They turned impossible into inevitable. Ambassador Yuna arrived at the celebration a few hours later. She looked tired but satisfied. The Council wants us to share our construction methods, she told them. They are offering technology trades, resource rights, all sorts of deals. What did you tell them? Taman asked. I said we would share, Yuna replied, not because they deserve it, but because sharing knowledge makes everyone stronger. If we can help other species build better. Engineer Hai watched her screens with a small smile on her face. The reactor displays showed the Teguk was running at only 0.3% capacity. Most of the crew didn't even know what full power looked like. They'd never needed it before. She hoped they wouldn't need it today. 300 warships confirmed, Lieutenant Jin reported. They're taking positions around us. We're completely surrounded now. Captain Day stood with his hands behind his back, studying the view screen. The Imperial Armada was much larger than the First Fleet. These ships were newer, better armed, more dangerous. Captain, said Communications Officer Yoon, I'm receiving a transmission from Earth Command. They're asking if we need immediate assistance. Tell them negative, Day replied, but keep the channel open. On the largest Imperial ship, Grand Admiral Korvath sat on his command throne. He was old for a Vrax, his scales dark with age. He'd conquered 100 worlds in his lifetime. He'd crushed rebellions on 1,000 more. This would be easy. Open a channel to the human vessel, he ordered. His face appeared on every screen in the Taiguk. I am Grand Admiral Korvath. I've been killing enemies of the Empire for longer than your species has had space travel. I've destroyed fleets 10 times your size. Your little ship cannot stand against the full might of the Imperial Armada. Grand Admiral, Captain Day responded politely. We don't want to stand against you. We want to stand beside you as equals. Korvath laughed. It was a deep rumbling sound. Equals, you have 1 ship. I have 300. You have 30 crew members. I have 500,000 soldiers. There is no equality here. Strength isn't just about numbers, Dai said. Then you're a fool. Korvath leaned forward. I'm told your ship survived an attack from 47 warships. Impressive, but can it survive 300? I don't think so. You have 1 final chance, surrender or die. Dr. Rin stepped beside Captain Day. Grand Admiral, may I ask you something? Speak, human scientist. In all your years of conquest, how many species truly challenged you? Korvath thought for a moment. None, they all fell eventually. Exactly, Dr. Rin said. You've spent your life fighting species that were weaker than you. Species that feared you. Species that couldn't match your technology. You've never fought someone who was actually your equal. Or your superior. The Grand Admiral's eyes narrowed. You dare suggest you're superior to the Vrax Empire? I'm suggesting you've become weak through easy victories. Dr. Rin continued calmly. While you conquered primitives, humanity faced our own greatest enemy. Ourselves. We almost destroyed our world. We almost killed every human alive. But we didn't. We learned. We grew. We spent 200 years doing nothing but improving. Enough philosophy. Korvath slammed his fist on his armrest. Your words won't save you. All ships prepare to fire. Captain Day sighed. This is unfortunate. Tactical Officer Han, please prepare a defensive demonstration. A young man stood from his station. Tactical Officer Han had been quiet until now. He pulled up targeting data on the main screen. Captain, I've calculated firing solutions for all 300 Imperial ships. I can disable each reactor without causing casualties. The operation would take 4.7 minutes. Show them the calculations, Day ordered. Han transmitted the data to every Imperial vessel. Suddenly, every Imperial captain could see exactly how their ship would be destroyed. The calculations were perfect. Terrifyingly perfect. This is a bluff, Grand Admiral Korvath said, but his voice wasn't confident anymore. No one ship can target 300 simultaneously. Watch us, Lieutenant Yuna said. Her weapon systems came online. On every Imperial ship, alarms blared. The human vessel had locked targeting sensors on all of them at the same time. Medical Officer Mira spoke up from her station. Grand Admiral, our simulations show we can disable your entire fleet without killing anyone. We don't want to hurt you. We just want you to listen. The Empire doesn't negotiate with threats, Korvath shouted. Then another voice filled every communication channel. It was deep and commanding. It carried the weight of absolute authority. But the Empire will negotiate with me. Emperor Vraxthorn IX appeared on every screen. The ruler of the Vrax Empire looked at the Teguk with cold calculation. So, humans, I thought your kind was extinct. I'm disappointed to be wrong. Your Majesty. Captain Day bowed his head slightly. We mean your empire no harm. We simply want— I don't care what you want, the Emperor interrupted. You've humiliated my fleet. You've rejected imperial law. You've demonstrated technology that threatens my reign. There's only one solution. He looked at Grand Admiral Korvath. Destroy them. Use everything. I want that ship reduced to atoms. Yes, my Emperor, Korvath said. The channel closed. Captain Day turned to his crew. Well, we tried diplomacy. Hai, bring the reactor up to 5% capacity. Engineer Hai's fingers flew across her controls. Reactor at 5%, Captain. All systems responding. We're drawing more power than some stars now. Good. Yuna, I'm authorizing defensive force. Disable their ability to attack, but no casualties. Understood? Lieutenant Yuna nodded. Understood, Captain. No casualties. The Imperial Armada opened fire. 300 ships unleashed everything they had. The space around the Teguk turned white with energy. Missiles, beams, plasma, kinetic weapons. Everything the Varax had invented over thousands of years. The human ship didn't even shake. Then something incredible happened. The Teguk generated a shield dome that expanded outward in all directions. It grew larger and larger until it encompassed the entire battlefield. Every single Imperial ship found itself trapped inside. What is this? Grand Admiral Korvath demanded. Report. Sir, we can't move. Something is holding us in place. Our weapons won't fire. Main power is offline. We're caught in some kind of gravitic field. On the Teguk, Captain Day gave his orders. Security Chief Tay, launch boarding shuttles. Non-lethal takedowns only. We're going to have a conversation with their commanders whether they like it or not. Security Chief Tay grinned. He was a large man who'd trained in combat for decades. Finally, some action. Team, you heard the captain. Stun weapons only. Let's go teach these aliens about human hospitality. Small shuttles launched from the Teguk. They moved through the gravitic field like it wasn't even there. They docked with the largest Imperial ships and Tay's Marines poured in. The Imperial soldiers tried to fight. They were trained warriors, fierce and deadly. But humans had spent 200 years perfecting combat techniques. The Marines moved like dancers, disabling soldiers with precise strikes. No one was killed. No one was even seriously injured. But within minutes, the command crews of every Imperial flagship were unconscious. Pilot Wu wasn't idle either. He pushed the Teguk through impossible maneuvers, demonstrating the ship's capabilities. He flew figure eights around Imperial battleships. He stopped on a single point and rotated 360 degrees in 1 second. He accelerated to .8 light speed and stopped instantly. "Show off," Engineer Hai muttered, but she was smiling. Lieutenant Jin was busy broadcasting messages to the entire galaxy. "This is Lieutenant Jin of the Earth vessel Teguk. We are transmitting the coordinates of every Imperial slave camp, every prison colony, every conquered world. To all species under Vrax control, you are not forgotten. Help is coming." Across the galaxy, billions of enslaved beings heard the message. They looked up at the stars with new hope. On the Imperial homeworld, Emperor Vrax Thorn watched his mighty armada being defeated by a single human ship. His advisors panicked around him. His generals demanded more forces. His scientists said it was impossible. "Impossible or not, it's happening," the Emperor growled. He turned to a shadowed corner of his throne room. "Release it. Release the ancient weapon," his advisors gasped. "My Emperor, the ancient weapon hasn't been used in 1,000 years. We don't fully understand how it works." "I don't care. These humans must be destroyed. If we can't do it with our ships, we'll do it with the precursor's gift." On the Teguk, Communications Officer Yoon suddenly looked alarmed. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup on the Vrax homeworld. I've never seen readings like this before." Dr. Rin pulled up the data. Her face went pale. "Captain, they're activating something. Something incredibly powerful. The energy signature matches precursor technology." "Precursor?" Captain Day asked. "An ancient species that existed before most current civilizations. They left artifacts scattered across the galaxy. Most are harmless. Some are," she paused, "some are weapons. Can we stop it?" Day asked. Dr. Rin worked frantically at her console. "I'm comparing it to the precursor sites we discovered during our isolation." Yes, I think I know what they have. It's a system sterilization weapon. It can wipe out all life in an entire star system." "And let me guess," Day said grimly. "They're targeting Earth." "Earth and her colonies," Dr. Rin confirmed. "If that weapon fires, billions of humans will die." The crew fell silent. This was exactly what they'd hoped to avoid. They'd come in peace. They'd tried to talk. They'd shown restraint even when attacked, and now their entire species was under threat of extinction. Captain Day looked at his crew. These 30 people he'd trained with, lived with, trusted with his life. Options? "I can bring the reactor to full power. We can be at Earth in 3 hours." 3 months had passed since the fall of the Vrax Empire. The Teguk still orbited the Vrax homeworld, but it wasn't alone anymore. 10 more human ships floated nearby, and around them, ships from 43 different species gathered for the first galactic assembly. Captain Day stood on the bridge, watching the view screen. So many different ships, so many different species, all coming together to build something new. "Captain," Communications Officer Yoon called. "Captain Hana of the Harmony is requesting a meeting. She says it's important. Put her through." Captain Hana appeared on the screen. She was older than Day, with gray hair and wise eyes. "Day, we need to talk about the Vrax situation. There's something you should know." "What is it?" "We found someone the Vrax have been keeping secret for 3,000 years. An hour later, Day and his senior crew stood in a chamber deep beneath the Imperial Palace. Ambassador Lear Asha and young Prilyan were there too. In the center of the room was a stasis pod. "Who is it?" Dr. Rin asked. "According to the palace records, this is philosopher King Voranik," Captain Hana explained. "He was the last democratic leader of the Vrax. 3,000 years ago, he opposed the military taking control. They put him in stasis rather than kill him." "Why keep him alive?" Lieutenant Jin wondered. "Insurance," Prilyan suggested, "in case they ever needed legitimacy, a connection to the old ways." "Can we wake him?" Day asked. Medical Officer Mira examined the stasis pod's controls. "Yes, the technology is old but functional. But Captain, he's going to wake up to a completely different world. Better than staying asleep," Day said. "Bring him back." Mira worked carefully at the controls. The stasis field flickered and faded. The old Vrax inside stirred. His eyes opened slowly. Where am I?" Voranik asked weakly. Ambassador Lirasha stepped forward. You're safe. You're in the Imperial Palace. But there is no more Empire. Things have changed. How long? Voronik asked. 3,000 years, Prilyan said gently. The old philosopher looked shocked, then sad. I failed then. The military won. They won, Day said. But they also lost. The empire they built has fallen. Now your people have a chance to start again. Voronik studied the humans. You're not Vrax. What species are you? We're human, Dr. Rin said. Well, that's a long story. They spent an hour explaining everything. The Empire's rise, the conquest of 47 species, humanity's isolation and return, the battles, the fall of the Empire. Voronik listened to it all in silence. When they finished, tears ran down his scaled face. My people became monsters, he whispered. Some did, Lirasha said. But not all. Many of us want to be better. We want to return to the values you taught. But how? Voronik asked. How do we fix 3,000 years of mistakes? One day at a time, Captain Day said. The same way humans did. A message came through from Captain Siak of the exploration vessel Pioneer. Captain Day, the Galactic Assembly is ready to begin. Everyone's waiting for you. The chamber that once held the Emperor's throne had been transformed. Representatives from 43 species sat in a circle. No thrones, no hierarchy, just equals gathered to talk. Captain Day stood at the center. Thank you all for coming. 3 months ago, most of you were slaves, subjects, conquered peoples. Today, you're free. The question is, what do we do with that freedom? A reptilian delegate stood. We want revenge. The Vrax enslaved my people for 500 years. They deserve punishment. Many delegates nodded in agreement, but philosopher King Voronik stood up. The room fell silent. Some of the delegates recognized him from ancient history. You're right to be angry, Voronik said. My people committed terrible crimes, but I ask you, will revenge bring back the dead? Will it heal your wounds? Or will it just create new cycles of hatred? What would you have us do? Another delegate asked. Forgive and forget? No, Voronik said firmly. Never forget. But perhaps we can choose to build instead of destroy, to teach instead of punish, to grow together instead of apart. Ambassador Lirasha stood beside him. The old emperor is in exile. His supporters have lost power, but millions of ordinary Vrax remain. They didn't choose the empire. They were born into it. Are they guilty too? The young ones aren't, said a delegate from a long-enslaved species. Children can't be blamed for their ancestors' crimes, but they must learn from them. Agreed, Captain Day said, which is why I propose the Galactic Compact. Not an empire, not a collection of isolated worlds, but a federation, a community where every species is equal, where knowledge is shared, where disputes are resolved through discussion, not war. Humans will lead this compact? A suspicious delegate asked. No, Captain Siak said, standing. No one leads. We all contribute. We all have a voice. Captain Hana added, humans will share our technology, our knowledge, but we won't rule. We've seen what empires do. We don't want to become one. Dr. Rin pulled up holographic displays. Look at this. These are educational programs, medical advancements, agricultural techniques, everything humanity developed during our isolation. We're giving it all away. Free. To everyone. Why? A delegate asked. What do you gain? Peace, Lieutenant Yuna said simply. We gain peace. We gain friends. We gain a galaxy where our children can explore without fear. The debates continued for days. Some species wanted complete independence. Others wanted closer cooperation. Some still harbored anger toward the Vrax. Others were ready to move forward. Engineer High spent those days teaching alien engineers about human reactor technology. It's not as complicated as it looks, she explained to a group of fascinated students from 6 different species. The key is balance. Power without control is dangerous. Control without power is useless. You need both. Tactical Officer Han ran joint training exercises with security forces from multiple species. Human combat techniques focus on ending fights quickly with minimal harm, he taught. We learned the hard way that every enemy you kill creates 10 more who want revenge. Better to disable and discuss than destroy and regret. Pilot Wu gave flying lessons to anyone who wanted them. Speed is great, he told his eager students, but accuracy is better. And knowing when not to fly is best of all. Medical Officer Mira established the first multi-species hospital. Every species has different biology, she explained to her new colleagues. But pain is universal. So is the desire to heal. We'll learn together. Lieutenant Jin mapped new trade routes and safe passages through dangerous regions of space. The galaxy is huge, he said. Huge enough for all of us. We just need to learn to share it. Communications Officer Yoon created translation programs that worked for all languages. Words divide us, she said, but meaning connects us. We're teaching computers to find that meaning. Security Chief Tay trained peacekeeping forces. The goal isn't to win fights, he emphasized. It's to prevent them. Every time you avoid violence, you've won the real battle. On the last day of the assembly, a vote was called. The Galactic Compact would be formed or rejected. Every species would choose. The results came in one by one. 43 species voting. Captain Day watched nervously. 41 voted yes. 2 abstained, wanting more time to consider. 0 voted no. The chamber erupted in celebration. Different species cheered in different ways, but the joy was universal. Philosopher King Voranik embraced Ambassador Lir Asha. We have a second chance, he said. My people have a second chance. Young Prillian looked at Captain Day. What happens now? Now. Day smiled. Now the hard part begins. Building is always harder than destroying, but it's worth it. 6 months later, the Teguk prepared to leave the Vrak's homeworld. Their mission was complete. The Galactic Compact was functioning. Trade routes were open. Schools were being built. Former slaves were returning to their homeworlds as free citizens. The crew gathered on the bridge one last time before departure. They'd been away from Earth for almost a year. Captain, Lieutenant Yuna said, do you think it will last? The compact? Day looked at the view screen. Ships from dozens of species moved peacefully through the system, trading, learning, living together. I think it has a chance, he said. A better chance than the Empire ever had, because it's built on choice, not force. Where will we go next? Pilot Wu asked. Earth first, Day said. We need to report back. Rest, resupply. Then. He smiled. Then there's a whole galaxy to explore. And now we can explore it with friends. Dr. Rin entered one final log entry. The Vrax Empire panicked when they saw our ship because they didn't understand what we'd become. They saw our technology and thought it made us conquerors. They were wrong. Our technology made us capable of conquest, yes, but our wisdom made us choose something better. We chose to be teachers, healers, friends. The galaxy is changing, not through force but through cooperation. Not through fear but through hope. Humanity returned to the stars not to dominate, but to elevate. Not to rule, but to serve. And in doing so, we found our true purpose among the stars. Engineer High watched the reactor displays as they prepared to jump to faster-than-light speeds. You know what's funny? She said to anyone listening. We spent 200 years building weapons that could destroy fleets, shields that could withstand anything, engines that could outrun stars, and we ended up using all that power to talk, to teach, to help.